The first thing we're gonna cover is the big mistake that freelancers make. And this is very common, but it's pretty easy to overcome. And you're gonna recognize it in yourself if you're doing it.
First, my name is Henry Bingaman. I've been freelancing since 2008. In the beginning, I got so frustrated, I almost quit. Then I learned the secrets and strategies that make high income freelancing possible, and I eventually built my income up to over $1 million in a year. Today, in addition to freelancing, I make videos like these to help current and aspiring freelancers make more money and enjoy their lives more.
So what is the big mistake? The big mistake is giving clients a resume or CV before they're mostly sold on you. And that doesn't just mean an actual literal resume. It means even your LinkedIn profile or whatever it is looks like a list of things you've done. I would be a direct response copywriter that writes long form videos, and I've worked for XYZ. That's really boring. That does not sell yourself at all. But it's what we're trained to do. In the cultural zeitgeist right now, you go to school, you get a degree, you put that on your resume, and you try to sell that to everybody. When you do this, you're basically putting yourself out there to compete with a million other people. You're trying to say, here's who I am, here are my list of qualifications, you should hire me. It's pick me. You're not saying, here's what I'm gonna do for you. You're not selling yourself as a unique freelancer. You're counting yourself in a group of other people. There are times when resumes are useful. So they're really useful when you have a particularly impressive resume. If you went to Harvard Law and you worked for some big company for 30 years, just saying that can be impressive enough. If you're $1 million Mike Morgan over here and you've worked for every company under the sun and you have this giant track record, you could say, here's my resume, this works. So if you have a good enough resume and good enough stats, you can have it. The other thing, you might need to have a literal physical resume when the client that you have needs to sell you to their boss. When you're talking to somebody that has the responsibility of making hiring decisions, but needs to get it cleared through the next layer up. So it might be HR people, but they need to get it cleared through the CEO. You actually do need a resume in those cases. So you don't want to pitch yourself with a resume and put yourself in the pile, but you want to have something that you can give to somebody, or you want to have a good enough LinkedIn profile or something. When that person needs to pass you on, you have something to show. So let's get into the fun stuff. How to brag about yourself. The thing is, everybody hates arrogance. Cockiness is insecurity and people can feel it. So if you're out there just saying, I make millions of dollars, I'm the best at this, blah, 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 people are repulsed by that. But you also do need to get that information across in different ways. So you have to learn how to tell a story. Stories bypass skepticism. You can get away with a lot of bragging if you do it in story form. The other reason is people love to repeat stories. People love to tell your story for you. Stories just sink in. They're the heart of really selling, is being able to tell stories. Here's the basic formula for a quick story. So the quick version is the old world, which is what was, then there's the ordeal, some type of struggle, and then there's the reward. My name's Henry Bingaman. I started freelancing in 2008. In the beginning, I ran up $21,000 in debt. I almost lost my car, got kicked out of my apartment. So that's the old world part. Then I discovered the secrets and strategies that make high income freelancing possible. And eventually I got my income up to over $1 million a year. So I started freelancing in 2008, the old world, ran up all this debt, almost lost my car, lost everything. That's the ordeal. And then the reward is I got at the end. Now, obviously I'm bragging about having a high income because I'm trying to get people to trust me. But when you put it as the payoff to a story, nobody cares that you're bragging. You would never go into a cocktail party and walk up to somebody and tell them your income. That's just obnoxious. But if you talk about the struggle, you talk about all the things you went through and how you were an idiot and how you almost failed, then you can talk about your income because it's the payoff to a story. It becomes 90% less obnoxious. Now, some people still hate you for it and there's nothing you can do about that, but it's the way to get that information through. Now, the full version, you want to go old world, then call to adventure, then meeting with the mentor. So when I'm telling the longer version of my story, I always mention that it was Mark Ford and Jed Canty that mentored me. They really brought me up. They taught me everything I know. And one of the reasons I do that is because those guys love to share my story. I become their success story. They start bragging about me, but I crafted the story for them. And so giving credit to them is honest, but it also helps them share the story. Then there's the ordeal, then there's the reward. And then return with the elixir is then you teach somebody something. So teaching is the other way to make an audacious claim. I'm not telling you that I made $1 million because I'm bragging. I'm telling you this so you trust me, and then I teach you how to do it. I want you to learn to tell these stories with confidence. So write out the story, old world, ordeal, reward, write it out and tell it to yourself in the mirror until you can repeat it confidently to other people, where you're just saying it casually. If you have confidence, you'll make more money. It's just a fact. If you can confidently state things and just say, hey, here's the thing I went through. This is my first client. I'd never done this before. I got a great referral and he told me I was the best copywriter he's ever worked with. How cool is this story? If you're saying it casually, people are gonna be like, you wanna do a project for me? Or can I refer you? Like, look, this guy, that's a great testimonial.
Now, while that's true, there are a few mistakes that you can make that will kill your shot at landing the clients in the first place, which is why I put together a free checklist. It's the 7 messaging mistakes that stop clients from hiring you. Just run through this quick checklist when you're talking to prospects and you'll end up with a ton more clients. You can grab it at henrybing.co/7mm. Again, the link is in the description. All right, guys, catch you in the next one.